Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. I'm Susan from Tiara Lace Crochet and today I'd like to share with you how to crochet this small crib-sized baby blanket that's done in the corner to corner stitch in rows. This little blanket is actually 15 inches wide and it is 30 inches in length. That's without the little shell border. So today we're going to need two different hook sizes. I've used a 4.5 hook size and also a 3.5. You'll also need a pair of scissors and a yarn needle for weaving in your ends. It's worked in multiples of 4 and I used 76 chains to get the 15-inch width. Now we're going to work a sample swatch today. Look something like this when it's done, and we're also going to work the little shell edging, so you've got everything you need to know how to go ahead and make your own little blanket. Right, let's get started. To begin, we're going to use the smaller of the two hooks. In this case it's a 3.5mm hook. So with a slip knot on the hook, I'm going to crochet a length of chain in multiples of 4. I'm going to work a total of 24 chains. So go ahead and work your length of chains and I'll meet you once you've reached 24. So once you've crocheted your 24 chains, yarn over your hook and then skip the first 3 chains. So skip 1, 2, 3, and then into the 4th chain, into the bottom loop, which is just here. Insert your hook, so you'll actually go under 2 loops and do a double crochet, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And into the same chain we're going to work another 2 double crochets. So you end up with a total of 3 double crochets in the same chain. This is how it's looking. Now we're going to skip 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and in the next chain, in that bottom loop, insert your hook and yarn over and pull through the loop on your hook to create a slip stitch. And what that does, it pulls that little stitch, that group of stitches down to the base chain base. Next, chain 2, 1, 2, and work 3 double crochets into that very same chain, just like we did before. 1, 2, and 3. And again, skip 3 chains. Be careful here because there's one hiding there. It's pretty difficult to see sometimes, so just look for that bottom loop. That's the bottom loop of the previous stitch. So here, 1, 2, 3, and this is the 4th one along. And we slip stitch to anchor that cluster down, that little group of group of double crochets I should say. And that's how it's looking. So you do this all the way along row 1. So again, once more I'll show you. Chain 2 and into the same stitch work your 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And again, skip 3 chains, remember 1, 2, 3, and slip stitch in the next chain in the bottom loop. So go ahead to the very end, and in the last stitch we're actually going to work a single crochet, but I'll meet you there. So I'm almost at the last 4 chains. Well, I am actually. So here we have 1, 2, 3. And in this 4th chain along, in the bottom loop, insert your hook and work a single crochet. So if you just keep in mind at the end of each row, you work a single crochet, not a slip stitch. And that's how your first row looks. So you have a total of 5 of these little bumpy stitches. For row 2, we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to change hooks. So you go up a hook size from now on. Turn your work, and then in this bottom stitch here, which is the single crochet, do 3 double crochets straight in there. So we're using the 4.5 hook now. 1, 2, 3. And our next stitch is just like the first row, but it's going to be a slip stitch, but you're going to pop it in this gap here where the 2 chains were. So you're skipping over 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3. Find that little gap there and slip stitch. And what that does, it brings these 3 double crochets and it nestles them across there, across these. So they're almost like at an angle. Next, chain 2. In the normal corner to corner stitch, you'd normally chain 3 and single crochet instead of slip stitching. And it's by doing this you get a smaller gap. So we're going to now do 3 double crochets in this same 2 chain space. You can see the base row just here, so this one needs to come across here, and we find that 2 chain gap, jumping over 3 stitches, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, and pull through the loop on your hook. And again, chain 2, 1, 2, and then 3 double crochets, jump over 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, into that 2 chain space here, and slip stitch. So go ahead and repeat this all the way to the end of your second row. And when you get to the last group of 3 double crochets, skip over those, 1, 2, 3, and into that 2 chain space just there, work a single crochet, not a slip stitch. Then chain 2, 1, 2, turn, and you just repeat row 2. So row 2 is the 1 row repeat. So we've done our 2 chains, and now we need to work 3 double crochets into this single crochet just here. 1, 2, 3, slip stitch in the 2 chain space, skipping over 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, into there with a slip stitch, exactly as we did on row 2. And this is all there is to your blanket. You go ahead and complete repeating this row 2 till the length is the desired length you'd like your blanket to be. jumping over the 3 and slip stitching. Okay, so carry on working this to the end of the row and just repeat row 2 and just rewind the video as you need to. So carry on doing several more rows and then we'll work the final row. Once you've worked several rows, just make sure you finish with the yarn ending to the right as you've done your last single crochet, and you'll know that this is the wrong side. So we're going to now change our hook to the 3.5 to fill in these little bumps here, the gaps I should say. So here we have our 3.5mm hook, done our single crochet, and then we're going to work 2 chains, 1, 2, turn our work, so this yarn will be to the left and we know this is the right side where we started our work. Now to fill in the bumps, it's slightly different, and we've dropped down a hook size so we can actually get this to look a little bit neater. So work 1 double crochet into the single of the row below, and now we're going to work into each of the 3 chains, the next 3 double crochets. If you look here, you'll see there are 1, 2, 3 stitches. So in this first double crochet, we're going to do a half double crochet. Like so. Then we're doing a single crochet. And then we're going to do a slip stitch. And by reducing the height of the stitches, it levels it off. Next, just into here, we're going to work a double crochet, then we're working a half double crochet into that first double crochet, then a single crochet, and then a slip stitch. Then a double crochet, a half double crochet, a single crochet, and then a slip stitch. So you repeat this to the end of your work and you actually end with a single crochet. So go ahead and you can see how it fills in those little gaps really nicely. So here we are at the end, and I've worked my last single crochet, not a slip stitch, into that corner. You can see how lovely and straight that is and how it's filled it in really well. Okay, so now we're ready to work our border. To do the border, we're going to work with our larger hook size. So swap over back to the 4.5. And we're going to work a total of 5 double crochets into this 2 chain space just here. So just go ahead with 5 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then in this little space here at the base of these 3 double crochets, you can see there, we're just going to work a slip stitch. And next, going to find that next 2 chain space here, and we're going to work 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you'll find just next to it is that space there at the base of your double crochets, a slip stitch, and repeat this all the way to the end, and I'll meet you there. So 2 chain space at the end of each row, and then a slip stitch here. That's how it's looking. See you in a few minutes. So I'm almost at the end of this side. You can see that bottom stitch here. We've got a 2 chain gap there. So we're going to work 5 double crochets in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we have this little space just here. Now, I actually find it better to just go in there to that corner space, corner little stitch just there, and work a slip stitch. Okay, so we're now ready to go into the 3 chain space just here with 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to slip stitch in the next little space at the base of the double crochets. Now, you don't get too much of a gap there as it's pulled across nicely. But if you were worried about a gap appearing there, you could always go into that middle chain there and work your shell. So we'll just have a go and show you what it's like. 1, 2, 3. I've even caught the side of this double crochet and then gone in sort of like this, but to be honest with you, because we've used a smaller hook size, it really doesn't show too much. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we slip stitch in the next little space there at the base of the double crochets. I can just show you. There we go. So that's the effect you get going into the middle chain. It's entirely up to yourselves which you would prefer. So we're going to just go into that 3 chain space with our 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, work a slip stitch into the base of these double crochets here under that loop. So continue this to the end and I'll meet you there. That's how it's looking. So we've reached the end of the bottom row and we're just going to work a slip stitch into that little corner there. Next, you'll see here the 2 chain space just there. You're going to work 5 double crochets in there, just like we did on the other side, and you work this to the top of this side. So your 5 double crochets, 4 and 5. This looks a little bit gappy as I've worked it a few times. So slip stitch in there and then there we go. And that's your corner. And that's the base row. That's the other corner. This is the other side. So carry on going up this side, working 5 double crochets in here and a slip stitch at the base of the trebles. Sorry, the base of the double crochets. Right, I'll see you when you reach the top stitch here. So when you reach the top of this side, it brings you back to the top row. Just take care where you pop the next slip stitch. So you've worked into that 2 chain space there. Ignore this little space here and find that double crochet just there and pop your hook in that stitch, the double crochet, and work a slip stitch. To bring that corner, so this little shell across nicely to kind of like enable you to go across the top a lot easier. Now the top is slightly different as you've got no 2 chain spaces, but don't worry, it's just a simple thing of skipping a chain between your stitches. So we're going to skip that next chain. We've worked into this one. We're going to skip this one, work into the next chain with 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So you're all pretty familiar with doing the 5 double crochet shell and a slip stitch. So skip another chain and slip stitch in the next chain. And you just repeat this all the way across. So skip a chain and work your 5 double crochet shell in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then skip a chain and work a slip stitch. And just to make sure you're on track, the slip stitch always goes into the double crochet and the shell always goes into the single crochet. So carry on and I'll meet you when you reach the end just here. So I've just done the shell here in this single crochet here, and this single crochet ended the top row. Don't worry about not skipping one, just pop a slip stitch straight in there and then yarn over and pull through. Just snip your yarn, pull it through, give that a little tug and you're done. So you can now see you have your little swatch with the pretty little border just zoom out slightly for you. And this is how it's looking. So once again, just rewind the video as you need to, and I hope you enjoy working this lovely little blanket. Thank you so much for watching. If you're not already subscribed, it'd be wonderful if you would, and if you could leave comments, that's also useful. And if you've really enjoyed it, please give the video a thumbs up. So thank you once again, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care and bye for now.